First of all, I'd just like to welcome all of you to this groundbreaking ceremony for Lions Ridge. And for some people here, they've been waiting a long, long time, particularly Ludi and Greg, because they go back to past councils that were very involved in this project. But first of all, I would like to just make a couple remarks that really sort of mention some of the highlights of what's gone on for the last few years. First of all, for us, this is a tremendous accomplishment. It's a really important public partnership that is going to go down in Vail's history as something that was extremely important from the perspective of employee housing. As you can see, as you look out over the landscape here at these 98 beautiful units, they have reached the end of their useful life. And they may have actually gone a couple years beyond their useful life. They were constructed in 1981, and as many of you know, this is Vail's largest employee housing complex. It's about 198 units. It was purchased in 2003, and it was purchased as the employee housing covenant was expiring. We don't do that anymore. We don't have any expiring covenants on employee housing, but it was expiring then, and the town council at that point, through great fortitude and I think great vision, bought this property at market prices for $20 million. And it was to preserve an incredibly important piece of property from the perspective of staff or employee housing going forward. The housing will be replaced with a far better layout. The new units, I think there's 112 units, 84 two bedrooms, 28 one bedroom units. They have storage, they have washers and dryers. They're really designed for folks that are going to live here on a year-round basis. It's not designed necessarily for entry-level housing, but really for folks that want to live in town and want to establish a permanent place in the community or during their early years here in Vail. So we're really proud of that. The other thing I am particularly proud of is the incredible job that a number of people did to make this a reality. First of all, you know, 3 ex-mayors were involved in this, as near as I can tell. Rod Slifer, Dick Cleveland, and our mayor pro tem right now, Ludi Kurz. And they had the vision and the really the tenacity to carry this project through. But 3 people on the town staff really deserve special recognition for the effort and the commitment they made to get this done with Gary Gorman and Jen Wright. And that's Stan Zemler, our town manager, George Ruther, our director of community development, and then finally Judy Camp, our director of finance. Let's give them a round of applause. You know, Stan's looking a little aged, and before this started, he had a full head of hair. You know, it was very nicely combed back, and you know, he could get out and ride and ski a little bit, but it's been different lately. A couple other folks I want to acknowledge. First of all is the current town council, and that's Ludwig and Jen Bruno, Dale Bugbee, Dave Chapin, Greg Moffett, and Margaret Rogers. All of them have worked hard going through the analysis and really supporting what we're about to do today, and that is to start this exciting project. The Timber Ridge Affordable Housing Corporation. That was Stan, George Ruther, Judy Camp, Greg Hall, John King, Nina Tim. They've all provided the guidance on this project for a number of years and have really been able to squeeze out those extra years that we had to really make this a reality. You know, I've been on council 7 years, and through all 7 of those years, we have been attempting to redo this project. And because of the Great Recession and the sort of the reset in staff or affordable housing that's gone on in our economy, it made it more and more difficult. So we're delighted to be here today and looking forward to the redevelopment of the project. The next group I'd like to recognize is really our Vail Local Housing Authority. They're the folks that are part of the community, and it's their vision that has really guided how we've pursued affordable housing over the years here in Vail. And so we have Steve Lindstrom, he's our chairman, Scott Ashburn, Craig Cohn, Mary McDougall, and James Wilkins. Why don't you all put up your hands so people in the, that are here that can recognize you. Thanks. So if we look around, we're only redeveloping half this site. It's about a 10-acre site. The other half, right now, that half is in much better shape. But at the same time, we're putting another $1.3 million in it right now to make sure that both on an interior basis and an exterior basis, it is going to serve us for the next few years until we decide what we can do and what product best meets our needs going forward. So today with this groundbreaking, I want to, let me see. I want to really look at some of the challenges that we've been through, and to thank Gary Gorman and Gorman and Company, and then Jen Wright of Wright and Company, and the effort they're making today, and with their investors and their lenders, to redevelop this project at a cost of $28 million. So that's half the site. That's a tremendous investment in our community, and we're really extraordinarily grateful for these gentlemen for moving forward. The construction of these new Lions Ridge apartment homes will begin immediately, as soon as Stan hops in that backhoe in the next few minutes. And it's going to take about 12 to 16 months. They're going to be brought on in phases, but we're hoping the first will be brought on in the next 12 to 14 months, so the fall of 2015. The general contractor is Gary's firm, the Gorman General Contractors. And then we have a local company, I think we're all familiar with, R.A. Nelson, that is actually going to do the construction management. So again, I said 84 two-bedroom units and 28 one-bedroom units. So it's going to be a tremendous improvement, and really a project that we can all be proud of for many years to come. And with that, it's really my privilege and honor to introduce Gary Gorman, the CEO of Gorman and Company, and he's going to introduce his partner. Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Stan's hair may have thinned a little bit through this process, but I have got him beat. This is... You got a lot more than I do. This was a long process, and it took a team effort, and it took tremendous persistence on the part of a number of people. Stan and George, I can't tell you how many times Jen and I had conversations with them. They just stuck with it over and over and over as we explored scenarios to break through obstacles. So those guys had tremendous persistence, and I want to thank you for that. Let's give them a round of applause. I also want to thank the town council. They had to deal with the deal changing a number of times for lots of reasons, and I'll take a lot of the responsibility for that, because it was my job to bring in the capital, and the capital markets were volatile, to say the least, during this process. But I especially want to point out the Mayor, Andy Daly, and Greg Moffett would sit down with us, arm wrestle with us one-on-one to try to get the best thing they could for the town, but also make a reasonable deal. So thank you guys. Appreciate it very much. I almost wore a Hawaiian shirt today to honor Greg, but I just couldn't get myself to do it. I also want to thank our local partners. Where's Hans? Is Hans Berglund here? Hans is right here. He designed this project, and a lot of the great renderings here are a result of Hans' work, so thank you so much. Travis is here from R.A. Nelson. Travis, raise your hand once. All right, thank you so much. In the early phases of this, and John Gunther back here is going to be our superintendent. If anything goes wrong, it's John's fault. You don't do a project of this magnitude without a lot of capital. And the capital really came from two sources. One is TCF Bank, which they also worked through a complicated process with us and made us a loan of $21 million and change. So there's nobody here from TCF, but I wanted to give a shout out to them. Secondly, the equity money was put together by our friends at Aspen Grove Capital. Jeff Kerwood and Matt Horwitz are here. I know you guys don't want me to acknowledge you, but I'm going to do it anyway. Thank you guys. Appreciate it very much. Lastly, I have to thank my partner, Jen Wright. When I first had the bad judgment to want to do a development in Vail, it was 2005. And that was an effort to do a condo project. And I was looking for a local partner. And I kept going around saying, who's good in this valley? Who's well known? Who's respected? And Jen Wright's name kept coming up. So I called him. This was 2005. And I sat down with him and I said, Jen, you and I have to be partners because I can't get anybody to say anything bad about you. And he said, well, you just haven't asked the right people. But that started a relationship where we worked through a lot of challenges on a site that used to be called the Ruins. The Ruins turned into 13 beautiful condominiums, which our family kept one of them, and we're very pleased with that. On top of that, Jen then at one point said, you know what? The last group that tried to do Timber Ridge just gave up. Let's go give it a shot. And I said, Jen, what did I ever do to you? What did I do wrong? But he kept charging ahead. And what amazes me is he never got upset. Even when I made mistakes, when I couldn't deliver what I said I was going to deliver, he never got riled. He was calm through the whole thing. And I wonder what gets him upset. Something has got to get him upset. I just haven't hit that button yet. But he's been a tremendous partner, and so I'd like him to come up now and say a few words.
Well, that's embarrassing. It's not my style. But what I thought I'd tell you a little bit about two things. One, Gorman and Company. Since he's talked about me, I'll make his really short. And then what these units are about and what the design's about and so forth. So to be 2 minutes. Gary's has a very large company that does primarily tax credit apartment houses all over the United States, located in Madison, Wisconsin. And he has a company that has a tremendous amount of depth. They have a construction company, they have an architectural firm in the company, and they also have a large property management company managing several thousand units across the United States. So they bring a depth of experience and quality to the town that I think is really important to accomplish a project that really, quite frankly, this is a very complex construction and development project to finish. So I'm comfortable that we'll do a good job for you on that, and it'll be a project that's great for the town. Secondly, I'd also like to thank the town council, the staff. Gosh, we worked so hard on this. There's a lot of integrity there, and I certainly enjoyed working with them and getting this project to a place where it really works well. A couple comments on what the project's going to look like and what it's going to be when we finish it. What we found in doing our market research is that as many of you know, you can look at me, that the demographics in the valley are changing, and we have a lot more older workers in the valley than we used to, and so that there's a demand for a different kind of unit maybe than what we've had in the past for the first 50 years of our existence. And so what we came up with, working with our market research and so forth, was that there was a demand for more one-bedrooms because people wanted to live by themselves, and they were people who had been here for a while and not as young as those who are living with 3 or 4 or 5 other buddies in a unit, or 6 or 7 or whatever. So we designed the units to be really conducive to year-round living, and also designed so that their quality of life was what we would like to have our employees have. So we have 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms, and although Andy hit the high spots on it, the things that the locals have is they have a lot of toys, and they have their bicycles, they have their kayaks, their skis, everything that anybody could imagine they have. So we built around. We have a large amount of storage in each unit for the owners. We have washers and dryers in each unit. When all of you who've lived in apartment houses in this valley who didn't have washers and dryers know the delight of having one. That and the front door are 2 important things. We have each unit has its own forced air system. It's all gas, so we try to minimize their operating costs for those individual units. They're like loft units. They have 9-foot ceilings, galley kitchens, and large decks, 8-foot wide decks, so you can put a table and chairs, and also probably your bikes, your dogs, etc. But we think that the units will be terrific. Each bedroom has a bath, and they're nice sized. So we really think long term that this will really fit into the quality of what we're trying to provide here in the Vail Valley, and enhance the quality of life for the employees and year-round people who are going to live here and be part of our lives. Thank you. Who's next? Stan next. Stan, are you next? Who's next? Okay, you're good.
All right, so here's the protocol. We're going to have a picture with the shovels, the groundbreaking, and then we're going to cut the cake. And then Stan and George are going to fight over who gets to knock the first blow to tear down the first building.
Oh, we can do better than that. There we go. You still want one without hands? We demoed. Next, I will be